Hello, namaskar, adab, sasyakal, kasakai, kedo halai, kem cho. I am Abha Jadhav, your favorite host, once again welcoming you all to your favorite talk show on YouTube, Spotlight with Abha, in collaboration with Radio Brainright. Every year, most people set goals for themselves to read a certain number of books. But just like most New Year resolutions, they become like every other unaccomplished word. There are numerous benefits of reading books. They can make your mind think deeper, teach you more about your field, sharpen your skills, curb your anxiety, and generally just help you grow to the next level. Whatever your field or interests might be, it's very important to create a consistent pattern and habit to read beyond your horizons. If reading is a habit you would like to cultivate, there are some practical ways to approach it, especially if you always find yourself drifting from your reading goals. And to learn how to cultivate fast reading, once again, we have with us the world's best storyteller and a writer, Don Buck P Creacy from Kentucky, USA, who is here to give all of us the Christmas and New Year gift. Yes, today Buck is here to take another masterclass on how to learn anything quickly with his special technique of PQRST. With each memory landmark, he is going to explain previewing, reading, how to do studying and testing. Welcome back once again on Spotlight with Abha.
Thank you. How in the world are you today? Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to everyone who's watching. Well, let's talk about how to learn anything. There's a tiny story I have to tell about this. When I went to college, I was not prepared for college. Oh, I wanted to learn. Oh, I needed to learn it. And oh, I paid my money, but I did not know how to learn. I went to one of my first classes and the professor said, the first 500 pages are due Thursday. It was Tuesday. Well, as you might suspect, I did not do well my first semester at school. I flunked every single class. I wanted to learn. I did a terrible job, and I was not able to learn. And they put me on academic probation, meaning if I didn't do better, I couldn't go to college. So the next semester, I'm walking down the hall, and at the other end of the hall, I see Dean Barnes, the academic dean. We make eye contact from both ends of the hall. That is never good. I see him, he sees me. I start trying to avoid him. I see where he's walking. I try to walk on the other side of the hall, over here, over there. And he kept adjusting. He meant to see me. So I'm trying to get away from him. As he gets close, I nod and try to walk past him. And he grabs my arm. Oh, no. And he takes me into a room. And the next class professor starts to come in the room, and he holds up his hand, and the professor just stands outside the door very humbly. And he sets me down. And he says, Don, you are not stupid. And I said, I was hoping somebody would recognize that. He said, but no one has ever taught you how to learn. I said, excuse me? There is a way to learn how to learn? He says, yes, and I'm going to teach you how to learn. And he taught me PQRST. He said, if you will do this 30 minutes a day on any subject, you will become an expert on that subject no matter what it is. I said, even mathematics? He said, even brain surgery. Now that's a scary thought. Oh, I'm Dr. Creacy. I'm going to be your brain surgeon today. That's too scary. So I learned that method, and I'm going to share it with you today. And it is PQRST. Maybe we could have that very first slide up there. Preview, question, read, study, test. So the first principle of this learning method is to preview the pages in question. Oh, where did it go? My screen is gone. There it is. There we go. Preview the questions, preview the material. If you have 500 pages to look at before Thursday, you need to flip through those questions. Go ahead and move to the next question, the next slide. You need to preview those questions. Now, when I say preview, think of any magazine you ever picked up in the grocery store or the market, and you just want to flip through the pages, maybe see that starlet or see that star and see what movies they're in next. You don't really try to learn the magazine. You're just flipping through the pages. Well, if you have 500 pages to learn, then you have to preview all those pages. Just flip through them and look at them. You look at go ahead and get the next screen, preview. You shuffle through the pages, and you're just looking at the pictures and reading the titles and the captions. And it's that simple. Just be aware, be awake. And you're going to look through there to see what it is. Now, I'm not going to read this exactly to you. And the next part of this is Q, P-R, preview, question. And question, you're literally going to go through the material one more time, and you're going to look and see what are those things in there. You're going to, we're a slide ahead, Abha. Thank you. You're going to go through the material, and you're just going to, the pressure now is to come up with any question. For example, I was in the library and I was trying to learn about mathematics. And so I saw my preview, I saw Pythagorean theorem. I saw that Pythagorean theorem. And I said to myself, my question is, what is a Pythag? I did not know that Pythagoras was a person. I thought Pythagorean, well, Korean, Indian, Mexican, there must be a singular, and that had to be a Pythag. So my question I wrote was, what is a Pythag? And then I went through the material again, and I wrote many other questions. Well, what is this? What is that? And then as I go back to read, I might answer those questions. All right, so now let's talk about reading. This is important. So for 5 minutes, you're going to write down questions over the same material that you're looking at. And now to read. This is very important. You want to sit on the edge of your seat, and you want to arrange the light to come over your shoulder onto the book you're trying to read. And you want to point your finger. Now, when I was very young, I had a teacher tell me, do not point your finger. Well, guess what? I learned that it's better for me to point my finger and glide along underneath the letters, underneath the words, and just keep a steady rhythm going. If you want to read twice as fast as you read right now, you must point your finger. If you point your finger, you will read faster. Now, this is very important. Don't move your lips. See, most people read slower if they move their lips because they're really reading out loud. They're forming the words as they go. I read at the blinding speed of 150 words a minute. Ooh, that's terrible. I started pointing my finger and instantly I read 300 words a minute. Just by pointing my finger and keeping it moving smoothly underneath the letters, underneath the words, until I could read at a pace. And you have to create a rhythm and you have to honor it. Now, maybe you've done this when you'll be reading. You'll be reading along there and all of a sudden you go, oh. And then you fall asleep. How many of you fall asleep sometimes when you read? Yeah, so if you do that, the reason why is you do not have a rhythm. You don't have a rhythm that you're reading along at a pace. And because you don't have a rhythm and sometimes you move your lips, and here's another important thing, don't stop and don't start over. Every book I ever read in my whole life, and I read lots and lots of books. The only reason I read so many books is because I didn't stop and start over. See, if you're reading along there and you don't, every writer does this. He's going to tell you what he's going to think about. He's going to talk about what he's thinking about, and then he's going to tell you what he was thinking about. So he will give you a summary at the end. So if I'm reading along and I don't understand, of course I don't understand. It's the introduction. Just keep reading. He will explain himself. He will talk about what he wants to talk about, and he will get you through the top. Create a rhythm and keep reading. Don't stop and back up. If you fall asleep right away, it's because you're boring yourself to death. You're reading the same thing over and over and over, and you're doing the same thing over and over. So don't do that. Just start reading. Point your finger. Don't stop. Don't move your lips. I just touch my teeth together, and that stops me from moving my lips. Okay? All right. Now, don't try to comprehend everything you're reading. You are not studying. You're reading. You're putting information into your head. You're downloading the book. You're downloading the information. You cannot remember anything unless you get it into your head one time. So if you're reading along there, don't stop. Don't move your lips. Keep pointing. Keep moving your finger, and you will read faster and faster and faster. By the time I got out of college, I was reading 1,600 words a minute. Very, very fast. Now, I don't read that fast every day, but when I have to read fast, I can read really, really fast. Faster than anybody you know. 1,600 words a minute. And fast. I mean, fast. But don't ask me to tell you what I'm reading, because I'm reading. I'm just getting it in there. And then later, I might be able to figure out a way to remember it, to bring it back. So if you can't get it in there one time in one place, your computer at home, if you download a file and you stop and you download some more of that file and you stop, your hard drive on your computer becomes what they call fragmented, and your computer slows down. It takes forever to pull up your files. Well, if you start and stop, you are fragmenting that information. Store some of it over here, some of it over here, some of it right here. And when you want it all back, you can't gather up all the pieces. You have a little jigsaw in your head. So you don't want that. You want to just keep reading, get the whole thing in there at one time. No one would ever try to stop a song and question the singer. The singer is singing his song, Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. Wait a minute, why can't babies grow up to be cowboys? Well, let me finish my song and I'll tell you why. Don't let them get guitars and drive them old trucks. Let them be doctors and lawyers and such. Wait a minute, what's wrong with being a cowboy? Well, you can keep on with that silly question, or you can let the man sing the song all the way through. Well, let that writer tell you his information all the way through. Don't stop. Don't back up. Don't interrupt him. So when you're previewing, you're just kind of looking through the pages. Then when you're questioning, you're looking through and you're writing down your questions. Well, what is a Pythag? Who is Pythagoras? What is that Pythagorean theorem all about? Well, I do know the answer to that question. He was a Greek mathematician. Pythagoras was a brilliant man. And so then you have to test yourself. This is very important. Test. If you go into a room to sit down to take a test and you don't know what the questions might be, you're going to fail that test. If you have not checked with yourself to see if you know the answer, you will fail that test because you don't know. You don't know that you know. So you must test yourself. Now, here's what I would do. I was trying to learn mathematics. I was teaching myself mathematics. And so I went to the vending machine at work, and I put a quarter in the vending machine, and I says, Buck, would you like to have a candy bar? Yes, I would. I'd like to have a Hershey's almond candy bar. All right. What? Can you tell me the prime numbers to 67? 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 29, 31, 41, 43, 47, 61, and 67. Take out my card out of my pocket, check those numbers. And that's why I don't weigh 190 pounds anymore. I'm much heavier because I've had many candy bars. I tested myself many times. So you check to see if you know the answer before you take your test. If you can answer your own questions, you might figure out what the professor wants to know from you, and then you can give him the answers he's looking for. Prove to yourself before the test that you know the information already. Now we need one more slide here. Okay, now this is when we work on comprehension. When we study, we work on comprehension. We now know that we have to try to understand. So all my little memory tricks that I have memory tricks. I make pictures in my head, images, and I stand inside of the story and I look around to see what's going on. I landmark a story. Well, the reason I can do that is because I practice this so that I know the story. I'm inside the story. I've seen that wolf grab Granny many, many times. And so I know this, and I prove it with my memory tricks by studying. When you study, PQRST, that looks like one of our slides is out of place, but I teach myself the answers to my questions. Okay, that's it. That's the whole thing. PQRST, preview. Just look through the pictures. Question, make up questions as you're looking through the pictures. Take 5 minutes and look, preview. 5 minutes to ask yourself questions. 10 minutes to sit right on the edge of your seat. Point your finger and set up a rhythm to read quickly. Just set up a rhythm. And it must be where you really, truly read the words. So at first, my rhythm was slower. But as I got faster, I could just wave my hand down the screen and read the words. I could read it as fast as I could see it. And you can too, but you have to practice. You cannot, if you go today and try to read 1,600 words a minute, you will only be turning empty pages. No, you must work at it. Everything takes work. Everything takes effort. You cannot, there's no magic bullet to learning. So, preview, 5 minutes. Question, 5 minutes. Read for 10 minutes straight without stopping, without moving your lips, and without backing up and starting over. And don't get frustrated. Just trust that you're getting the information in. When you're downloading a program on the computer, you don't worry whether or not the program is there. You know that it will be when you open up the file. You know it's there, and it will be. You can remember something if you can get it into your head one time. You cannot remember anything. God in his great goodness will help you remember if you can remember one time. If you can get it in your head one time, you will never forget it. And then you have to study. Think of ways to remind yourself. For example, with trigonometry, there's a concept of a sine, cosine, and tangent for triangles. And so I made up a little thing that says, and it's my little word is SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. Sine over the SOH, sine equals the opposite over the hypotenuse. The cosine equals the adjacent over the hypotenuse, and tangent equals the opposite over the adjacent. SOHCAHTOA. That's my little memory hook for remembering trigonometry. And I can solve any right angle triangle just by using SOHCAHTOA as my little hook. That's my memory hook. So you must have a memory hook. You must have ways to do this. So where do you get memory hooks? You get them when you study. You study for 10 minutes. Now that's 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes a day. When I went to my job at Toyota, one of the first things they did is they gave me a math test to see what I knew. Well, I did know math. I passed the test easily, and I corrected the test because the test had some questions on it that were not exactly right. They had multiple choice answers, and I said, I just wrote a little note. The answer to this question is not on this test. The answer to the formula you have is this. If you wanted this answer to be the answer, then this is how your formula should look. And we had many discussions, but I did learn mathematics. And you can learn anything. Storytelling, writing, movie making, biology, science, oceanography. You can learn anything with PQRST. There you go. Well, it all disappeared. Okay, there it is. I hope that's helpful. Well, Abha, do you think that's important?
Of course, it's very, very important. If I talk about myself, I have never been an ardent reader. I always tried to escape from reading books because the way you said, the moment I took book in my hand, I start feeling sleepy. I read one page and immediately after reading one page, my head used to, I feel heavier in my head and I feel sleepy. But slowly, as I came into the profession of teaching, then I have to read. There was no option. So I developed different ways of learning. I tried to remember the things by relating it to some other things. I picturized them in my mind. I created a story for them. Okay, this happens, that, and I related with some different objects. And this is how I started learning the concepts of social science, all the seasons, climatic conditions, wind movement, and everything.
There you go. So the great joy of having a way to learn something is you have a method. It's not the only method, but you have a structure that you can move through information and learn. You have,
Absolutely.
okay, now I'm studying. One method to learn. But if you have a method to learn, then you can learn. And so I would encourage everyone to preview, question, read, study, test. It has helped me my entire life. And you can learn anything, mathematics, science, chemistry, anything with PQRST. Even storytelling, you can learn it with PQRST. Preview, question, read, study, test. Okay, there you go.
Okay, Buck, I have some questions.
Okay.
The first thing is,
Ready?
Suppose I'm a first-time reader. I am a first-time reader. So what kind of books I have to select?
First-time reader? Well, read a book for your age level. If you're 5 years old, don't pick up War and Peace. Read a book that you can read the words and you know them. Your vocabulary knows them. And read those books that are appropriate for your age. And if you're in middle school or high school or college, then you need to be reading books that are for that age level.
So I read somewhere that it is not compulsory to finish each and every book you start reading. Is that right?
Sometimes I start a book and it's a terrible book. And I will put that book down and refuse to read it. I read a book on conversations recently on how to hold conversation. It was such an awful book that I threw it away. It's a terrible book because not every book is a book that you can take into your heart. So read the books that touch your heart. And the books that are nonsense, don't read. So not just because a book has been written, that does not mean that the information in that book is correct. But if you read a book and it touches your heart, you can bring that book to yourself.
So another question is, this problem even I face. Is there any special technique through which a beginner can read a thicker book faster? I always stay away from thick books.
So if you read slowly and you don't like to read, you must make up your mind, I'm going to read. I'm going to become a reader. And then you pick up a book and you point your finger and you read. Just keep reading. And when you finish it, you can say, I finished a book. And you can talk with your friends about that book. Oh, I like this character. Oh, I don't like that character. Oh, I thought they said this very well. I don't agree with this. You should always be thinking while you're reading.
Absolutely. So next is, it is said that books are your best companions. If you have a book with you, you don't need anyone else. So how far you support this statement?
So I feel like if I have a book with me, I have a great adventure in my pocket. I can travel and I can go to another world and I can see things that no one has ever seen in my imagination because I have a book. And you should read as much as you possibly can. Read whenever you get a chance. Read books. You'll become wise and smart, and you will become useful to other people because you read books.
Okay.
If you have a library near you, you should have a library card and go use the library. If you're poor and you don't have any money, you can go to the library and they will let you use their books. And you can sit right there and read that book. And tomorrow it will be there for you to use again. Some books I have read many times. It's not enough to read a book once. That book has many things to teach me. So if I read a book, I may go again and read it again and try to glean something from that book.
Thank you, Buck. That was indeed a great learning session. I hope after this masterclass and after knowing your PQRST technique of reading a book, it will increase the speed of reading a book. Almost everyone who is going to apply this technique. And I know now many of our listeners will make a resolution to start reading books faster in the new year 2021.
See, I already speak very slowly. I speak slowly. My natural rate is to speak slowly. Well, if I'm moving my lips, I automatically am reading slowly. But if I keep my mouth shut, I can read faster than I speak. Thank you.
I would like to conclude today's session with a quote from W. Somerset Maugham. To acquire the habit of reading is to construct for yourself a refuge from almost all the miseries of life. So, with this, we are taking leave from the last episode of this year 2020. See you in 2021 with some more mesmerizing sessions in Spotlight with Abha. Wishing you all a very happy and prosperous new year 2021. May we all get out of this COVID shockwave and again prosper with a stress-free, fear-free, happy lives in 2021. Thank you once again, Bucks, for such a lovely masterclass. Happy New Year to you too.
I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Bye-bye.
So stay safe. Take very good care of yourself. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.